The film begins with the story of the famous monster. The demon started a lot of oppression in the world. I see some people climb up through a tree. They go upstairs and find the princess. They return to Earth with the princess. When the demons come down to Earth, they start the torture again. Jack then retrieves a crown and tells the demons to leave Earth. The beginning of the film shows a boy named Jack who is the hero of our story. He always loves to hear ghost stories. One day his father came and started telling him a story. His father then began to tell the story of King Eric. King Eric was the king of a kingdom where the subjects lived very peacefully. King Eric then soaked some seeds in water and wanted to go up to the sky to talk to the god. Some of the demons throw down the king's soldiers to get up. The demon then started to descend to the earth by holding that tree. Came to the earth and started destroying a lot, and people also started eating other animals and birds. King Eric takes a heart from the monster's body and sets it on fire, making a heart crown and keeping it. Seeing the crown on King Eric's head, the demons conceded defeat to him. The king then asked the demons to go back and ordered the trees to be cut down. Peace was re-established in the state. At the time of the king's death, the seeds and the crown were placed in his tomb so that no one could misuse them. Jack told his father that he had no doubt that the story was true. Her father tells Jack, "You will always be good and will tell you a story every day." Jack grows up and lives with his grandfather. They were going to sell a horse because they were very poor. Grandfather said he will sell the horse and bring all the money. Jack arrives in a town to sell horses where he sees the story of King Eric being acted out. He sees a girl next to him being abused by some people. A man punched her in the face when she tried to save the girl. The bad guys kneel before Jack. Jack is surprised. Jack looks back and is surprised to see some soldiers come to take the girl away. Henry ordered Jack to kneel down. He kneels down and the girl rides the horse back to the kingdom. Jack comes out and finds his carriage missing. Rick is talking to his soldier. A priest meets Rick and enters a room from which he escapes with some seeds. Entering the room, he finds that the priest has gone with his seed and accidentally left the crown behind. He then tells the soldier to capture him so that he cannot escape. The main gate of the city was closed and the clergy found everyone being checked. The priest saw Jack and wanted to take the horse from him. When Jack refuses to give the horse, the priest gives him some seeds, which are very special seeds. He hands over the horse to the clergy in exchange for seed. The priest was caught by the soldiers while escaping with the horse. When he returns with the seeds, grandfather tells him that we need money, we do not need these seeds. Jack says seeds have some amazing qualities. The king asked to marry his daughter Isabel. Then she tells the king, "I can't marry Rick, he is a bad man." When Jack picked up the seeds, one of the seeds fell to the ground. His grandfather says, "We have to find some way to survive now." The princess runs away with a horse. The princess went to a house and it was Jack's house. He recognizes the princess and lets her into the room. He talks to the princess for some time. When it rains, rainwater falls on the seeds. The seed begins to grow into a large tree. The tree takes the house up. When he tries to save the princess, he falls down from the tree. The next day he wakes up to find the king and his army surrounding him. King says, "Where have you hidden my daughter?" She points to the tree and says, "Your daughter climbed the tree. I tried to get him down but couldn't." The king then ordered his commander to climb the tree and fetch the girl. Jack and Rick say, "I'll go to rescue too." They all started climbing the tree with the rope. A man cut the rope and some soldiers fell down and died. They see above the tree there is a country. After that they all started looking for the princess. Rick snatches the seeds from Jack. Later on we see that Jack has a seed. The soldiers camped below, waiting for their return. Jack finds an item of princess use and brings it to show everyone. They split into two groups and started searching for the princess. They maneuvered out of the trap and jumped into the water. A monster captures Henry and his partner. Jack follows the monster to where the princess has been taken. Meanwhile, Rick kills a soldier by throwing him off a cliff. At that moment, a monster eats the soldier who was with Rick. When another monster comes to capture Rick, he takes the crown out of the bag and shows it to the monster. Meanwhile, Jack appears in front of one of the monster's houses. The princess has been held captive. A demon approaches the princess and says, "You are the descendant of King Eric, we will kill you and take our revenge." Another monster grabs two people and puts them in front of all the monsters. They find the princess imprisoned. A monster grabs a man and starts talking and suddenly breaks his head. Jack dodges monsters and enters the house. He finds a bottle that the princess used. Rick walks in among the monsters and all surrender to him. Rick steps on another monster's head and takes the throne. Rick continued to say, "I am your king. You will obey all my words." Henry and the princess realize Rick is a bad man. While chutneying Henry, Jack arrives and meets the princess. He hands Henry a knife. The monster lays Henry down on the fire. Jack climbs up the rope. As the monster goes to kill the princess, Jack takes a knife and kills the monster. The three of them were then freed. Meanwhile, a lot of people started gathering under the tent. A general came and met the king in the tent. The king told him everything. Commander said, "I will try to help you." The princess and Jack continued to talk. The three of them then set off to return to Earth. They then find that a monster has been assigned to guard. An idea comes to Jack's head. Jack and Henry bring a beehive and insert it into the monster's skull. They see the monster screeching loudly after being stung by a bee. The monster then fell down and died. They rejoice seeing the death of the monster. They tell Henry to come back to Earth. Henry says, "I will punish Rick and go back to Earth. You guys leave." Henry hands Jack a star-studded sign. Meanwhile, the king and his generals come to see the body of the dead monster. Raja believes everything that has been said in the past has been proven true. The king then orders the tree to be cut down even though his daughter has not yet returned. Jack and the princess started down the tree. They kiss each other and look down to see that they have come very close to the kingdom. All arrangements are made at night to cut the tree. Henry hides next to a rock. He sees Rick coming to attack Earth with monsters. Rick walks forward thinking, "I'm going to be king of the world now." When she returns, Henry attacks her. The seeds of the tree fall out and a fierce battle ensues between the two of them. Rick died in the battle. As Henry goes to take the crown, another giant takes the crown and places it between his fingers, proclaiming himself king. After cutting the tree, when its branches started falling to the ground, people started running away in fear. Henry jumps into the tree to return to Earth. Jack and the princess hang from a tree branch and descend. Henry jumps into the water and the tree shatters part of the castle. The king then began to regret the batch of his daughter's hand. At that moment, the princess returned to the king and hugged him to her chest. The king kept saying to his daughter, "I was in great trouble without you, and you are my only daughter. I cannot live without you." Princess says, "Jack saved me from monsters." They turn around and find Jack gone. King tells Jack, "You will serve as my commander." Jack says, "I am willing to work if you employ me." He says to Princess, "I have to go now." Princess says, "I like you. I will tell my father about you." The princess rode back with the king. The monster begins to plan his return to Earth. He finds all the seeds and throws them all into the water so that they can come down to the earth through the trees. All the monsters then started to descend the trees. Then another monster jumped on the tree to come to Earth. Jack looks at the seed and hangs it around his neck. He finds his horse. When the horse is taken to water, he finds the monsters starting to descend through the trees to the earth. He rode a horse and rushed to the king to report the demons. The princess sees Jack coming up behind them. The monsters already started chasing them. Meanwhile, all the soldiers are informed of the monsters' arrival. The king and his army entered the palace over a bridge. The bridge is raised a section and Jack finally manages to cross the bridge. When the demon tries to climb the bridge, the demon is hit by an arrow and thrown down. The monster fell down and started screaming into the flames. The monster finds his crown in the water. The princess saw Jack and got off her horse and hugged him. The king comes there and thanks them all. The demons then started attacking the palace. The monster tries to pull bridge down. The king asks the princess to escape through a secret tunnel. The princess went on a horse ride with Jack. All the soldiers are trying to get the bridge up. They then set fire to trees and threw them inside the palace. As Jack and the princess walk through the tunnel, a monster breaks through the tunnel and climbs up. Jack and the princess hide in fear of the monster. Monsters started attacking them and they started running away. Then the monster catches the princess. Jack attacks the monster with a blade and the monster grabs Jack. When the monster goes to eat Jack, Jack pulls out the seed and throws it in the monster's mouth. He threw them both to the ground when the seed entered his stomach. The tree seed starts growing out of the monster's body. A hand from the monster came and fell in front of Jack. As the monsters enter, Henry and his soldiers see the tree breaking through the castle and rising into the sky. All the monsters kneel down and surrender. They looked back and saw Jack coming forward with the crown on his head. He asks the demons to leave the world. Jack and the princess marry and have children. Jack continues to tell his child the story of the monster. Meanwhile, we see the crown being beautifully cleaned and transformed into a new crown. A man began to tell everyone about the crown. A boy looks at the crown alone and the film ends. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.